What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Colton.
I'm Chad.
I'm Tom, the OG Fit Kid, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate.
And returning once again, our guest, wrestling journalist Ella J. Ella, what's going on?
What's up, guys? I'm so excited to be back. You got a little bit of a revised version of your intro. I noticed that. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, you're in there. You're in there.
Saw it.
We love having you back. I think last time we had you on, you were about to go to, what was it? Was
Survivor
it Survivor Series?
Yes.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that. Tell us what you've had going on lately.
Survivor Series, I mean, I felt a little bit sick during it because I have vertigo, but, I got it together when it counted most, which was at Survivor Series. Randy Orton returning was a huge thing for anybody who follows me on Twitter, that I would tweet that every week that I missed this man. And I finally got to see him. And then, Punk showing up. And then I was a part of the press conference that was afterwards. I got to ask Charlotte Flair a question before she got injured like 2 weeks later, which was really sad. But, it was really cool to be at another WWE PLE. And I'm hoping to do more this year.
So I have a question for you then, because I've seen you at these pressers. Does WWE give you a list of questions you can't ask? Like,
No.
really? Like,
That's
how
awesome.
do people not ask better questions than during these pressers?
I've only been to 2, so I'm not really like an expert in it yet. I'm still trying to find my footing, itself. I've only been to 2 of them so far. No, genuinely, they don't give us, say, you can't ask about this. Certain things are like common sense, but no, I mean, it's pretty much you're free to ask whatever you want, and if they don't like the question, they'll just not answer it.
Yeah, no, every time I see you, I'm like, oh, look, there's LJ.
Yeah, you can tell, like, the vets are always the one that bring a little bit of the heat in the questions.
Yeah, they're more confident than say I am. Yeah.
Ella's like, I want to be invited back, so I'm not going to ask the hard-hitting questions yet.
I think there's a lot of I would be nervous, man. Like, what if you say the wrong thing, step on the wrong toes? You never know. And then your credentials pulled. That stuff happens.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I did see you on I heard you at the Survivor Series presser. I thought that was so cool. So the great opportunity. What else has been going on with you?
Just prepping up for its Royal Rumble week, which is my favorite week. So I loaded up this week with podcasts and interviews. I mean, this is technically my first Royal Rumble related show this week. Nice. So, I mean, I'm really excited to talk about. This is my favorite pay-per-view. I unfortunately couldn't go, but I still wanted to be a part of it. So you guys reached out at a great time. I'm glad we are getting to do this. Obviously not the whole show isn't about Rumble, but I'm excited to talk about this because it's my favorite pay-per-view.
Oh, mine too. I've always had a soft spot for the Rumble.
Same.
Dude, this is the time of year when fans come back who haven't watched all year, and this is the time to hook them to make sure they stick through WrestleMania season and everything. It's like the most fun time of the year for a wrestling fan. And not only that, after the Rumble, I got to go back and watch Collision on DVR this week because I'm dying to see that steel cage elimination match. So.
Chick Foley were talking about it today when they previewed the Rumble in their podcast about how this is a great for someone who's a casual or not even a fan of pro wrestling. It's a great event where you can watch it and get hooked in without having to watch like a 20-minute match that may drag on. Like the Rumble itself is almost set up with the countdowns, the entrances. It's set up for even a non-fan to enjoy.
Yeah, and there's so many built-in, storylines. There's like a million things going on. You get to see old rivalries reconnected. You get to see first-time face-offs. You get to see some surprise entrants, which again, we'll see what happens this Saturday at the Rumble. But yeah, it's a combination of all those things.
And speaking
Absolutely.
of which, what I love about this year's Rumble is they've announced very few people.
So I love it.
I love it. Give me 5 or 6 names and let the rest just be a mystery. Just bring it.
Yeah.
Last year they gave away like half the field for the men's rumble before it even
More
started.
than half. There was like 3 people left by the time like the Rumble started. That we
What have they announced now? Like 7 or 8?
I
That's
think it's about 8 for the men, and then there's 6 women.
Yeah,
Perfect. That's all we need. That's
That's
all we need.
leaves just that fun mystery. Like you just don't know who's going to be next.
Mhm.
I'm sure we'll get more announced on Friday, but even then, still, it's the day before. It's not
Yeah.
like the whole field.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. Let's go.
Well, man, speaking of that, Ella, you're no stranger to the debate show, so you know how things roll around here. We got 3 new topics to get into
Mhm.
tonight. If you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started.
Let's do it.
First topic: where will Nick Nemeth win gold first? TNA or New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I like this question. I love this question. It's like what a difference a week makes, right? Like a week ago we were talking about where is he going. All of a sudden he's everywhere now. Like
Everywhere, yeah.
and he shows up at TNA. I think he's going to win New Japan first. I think they're going to do a slower build in TNA. I think they're going to let him win that gold in New Japan. Let him it's going to be fun to see. Let this guy shine. The handcuffs are off. Let us see what he could do now. Let's see.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Tom. I was thinking about this at first. I think he's definitely they have a one-track mind on putting him with that TNA world title. I think it's going to happen, but I think they want story to build to a moment. New Japan has no problem throwing a title on someone with little to no build. I gotta think New Japan, but at the same time, there is a part of me, there's a voice in the back of my mind that's like, will New Japan put a title on him? We've seen a lot of people go there and not get those titles. I mean, they did. Moxley got a title. I think even Jericho had a title in his short run. So if you're judging by history, yeah, he probably will get a title in New Japan, but there is a little voice in the back of my mind that's like, do we really see him beating David Finlay, the leader of the Bullet Club, for his title? I don't know, man, but I think he will if he's going to win gold in either place. I just think the long-term storytelling of TNA and the way they kind of christen their champions, I think it's New Japan first.
Yeah, I gotta go with you guys as well here. I think it's going to be New Japan, primarily just because we just got this belt on Moose, and I mean, for anybody listening or watching who did not watch Hard to Kill, by the replay, it was an incredible show. I was very hopeful that he was going to show up, but because we had just seen him in New Japan the week before at Wrestle Kingdom, I had my doubts. And man, yeah, it was an incredible debut. Him and Moose are going to have a great program, man. But Weekly TV last week, I mean, he said, he's not in here to cut line. He's got too much respect for that entire locker room. So he's going to work his way through the roster before he gets there. And he's already set up pretty well for a first run program with Steve Macklin, which I'm really, really looking forward to it. If you guys didn't catch Weekly TV last week, and go back and watch Ace and I on Brace for Impact. We break down that segment pretty well. It's I think he's going to win gold in both in 2024 is my prediction for sure. But I think New Japan is where he'll take it first, because I think he's going to be at TNA more than he's in New Japan in the long run. So I think next trip over to New Japan, which leads me to believe, I don't know if he's going to take this belt off of Finlay or not. Maybe it'll be another championship. Hard to say, but I think that New Japan's excited to have him. I don't think he's going to pick up a belt there for sure.
See, I'm gonna be different here.
Yes.
But Chad said it too. I mean, granted, both David Finlay and Moose just won titles, so it's like a difference of a week. Granted, Nick is challenging, David Finlay for it at the New Beginning, right? Coming up, that's what it is. So he technically has a chance for a title already, but because, like Chad said, David Finlay is the leader of the Bullet Club. I mean, it's not impossible, but I don't foresee them taking the title off of David Finlay that soon. And I know Nick just got announced for another show, I want to say like in March or something for New Japan, or April or something. He got announced for a second one after that. So it's possible he could win that after that. But I think because of that, I think TNA, and also TNA, Scott D'Amore was touting, they have a big signing, which turned out to be Nick Nemeth. It's so hard to call him Nick Nemeth and not Dolph right now. I just want to say that right now. It's very weird. But coming into TNA, Nick said that he wants a shot, but he's also going to work his way up, kind of how like Nick Aldis didn't get the job done, but he didn't get the shot right away. I think he's going to work through that program with Steve Macklin, and then maybe around a Rebellion, which is April. It's not the Philadelphia show in March, that it would be the next month. I think Rebellion would be a good time. April, get him 2-3 months of storylines to slowly build up. He's beat so and so and so and so, and then they get that, because Rebellion is one of, I think, the big 4 pay-per-views for TNA.
Mhm.
So I think that would be a perfect time to protect Moose, so he doesn't get a terribly short reign, but it's not going to be terribly long either. And like you said, I think he's going to be at TNA more than he's going to be in Japan. But also, he could win a title for New Japan and bring it over to TNA. I mean, we've seen multiple people from New Japan work in TNA, so it's possible. But I think TNA is more likely with the hype surrounding him, and plus David Finlay, like you said, is a leader of the Bullet Club. I don't see him taking him down that fast.
So Colton, do you watch Impact or TNA closer than a lot of people? Do you think this is one of those situations where they already have their story pegged and they know where Nick Nemeth is going to take this title, or do you think it's a wait and see approach of how this Moose situation goes? Because I think that's a big thing. Like, if Moose deserves it. He's been there. He's been putting in his time. He signed, I think, the longest contract of any TNA wrestler recently. So I feel like he does deserve a long run. But do you think it's one of those things where if they're not seeing what they want out of him, would they make an executive decision and kind of transition quicker than you would expect onto Nick?
I mean, that's a great question, man. I mean, my inclination is to think that they've already kind of got this planned out already, because that is just that's been their style historically. And a lot of that comes with the fact that they tape so many shows in advance, and that's one of the benefits and, one of the pros and one of the cons for doing that type of style. I mean, I like what you said, Ella. I mean, if it's at Rebellion, I mean, if we end up in April, I mean, that's still a pretty good run for Moose. So, I mean, I could see, but I don't know, man. They're also really trying to put over the system, this new faction with Moose, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Alicia Edwards really hard. And I could see some shenanigans getting involved. I don't think Nick takes it. I think Nick is going to take this belt off of Moose at one point, but I don't think he's going to take it on his first try. So I mean, if you look, especially too, I just don't think there's a question that they're seeing what they want out of him. They're seeing exactly what they want out of Moose. The guy is, you look at pictures of him from a month ago versus pictures of him this time a year ago, the guy is just absolutely shredded. I mean, he's never spent a day in his life in bad shape, but he just keeps getting better. So I think he's going to be a big bad for a little while. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, summertime before we saw this belt come off of him, and that would put us at Slammiversary, which would be perfect. Slammiversary would be a really cool time. I mean, that would be, that's basically a second biggest show next to Bound for Glory. I mean, Slammiversary would be a really cool time for Nick to take that belt. And I mean, I know we're all of us, or minds are going to David Finlay. I mean, yeah, he's about to be in a program with David Finlay. But like I said, I don't think he's taking that belt off him anytime soon. I mean, it could be, Eddie's held on to the strong openweight championship for quite a while, man. I mean,
that would be interesting.
That I could see, because that's a belt that they, that we see pop up other places pretty often. I mean, also an Eddie Kingston, Nick Nemeth match, man, sign me up. That sounds awesome. But also at the same time, I mean, Eddie's not been the Triple Crown champion for all that long, and I imagine he wants to get a pretty good run. But I mean, you got 3 belts and you lose 1. I mean, does that really hurt your cred that much?
That's the tricky thing of the question is, like Ella said, David Finlay just got that title, and not only did he just get the title, but correct me if I'm wrong, that title is kind of a rechristened new title. Like it's not. Didn't it come out of the United States / UK title that Ospreay had? And they renamed it. So it's like they're wanting to legitimize that title. And then you have Moose, who just got this title. TNA just launched. So both of these champions, one has a stake in making this belt feel important, and one has a stake because your company just rebranded back to TNA and you're the new champion. So I feel like both companies, who needs to hold the title longer? You know, like it's a very tricky situation.
Wow. This is Moose's first run at the time?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Okay, so I think it impacts him less to not have a long run then. I thought he held it before.
Yeah, he had the big strap too, like the old school TNA belt.
And he had the Impact belt too. So this would technically be his second run as TNA champion, but with the promotion altogether, this is his third run.
Yeah.
But so you got a good point there, Tom. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Because my thought is, Ella, you said he's booked on a show in March in New Japan, right?
They announce a second matchup after the one after New Beginning.
Right.
It's somewhere in the next couple of months. So he's coming back to New Japan, but it seems to be like a once a month kind of deal, maybe at most. You know, it wouldn't be a consistent thing. Not to say that he couldn't defend it across like TNA or other brands, because they defend those titles like everywhere. You know.
Okay, let's throw it in. What about GCW? Could he? Because he's about
facing Cardona.
Yeah.
It's very possible. That match is what, February 3rd, I think it is.
Yeah, it's coming up.
So it could also, I mean, if he's going to become a regular in GCW, yeah, that's also a possibility. He's great friends with Cardona. I don't doubt that Cardona could sway him to nudge, make some more appearances.
Yeah. He's living. I love seeing Nick at TNA because he just felt like a guy that has been in one system his entire career, and he felt so uncaged and just happy to be there. I love seeing the guys getting that kind of fresh coat of paint after years with any promotion. I love seeing it change. That's the beauty of pro wrestling.
Dude, that's the amazing thing about having AEW now at their level. Having TNA is at another level that they haven't been at in forever. Like, wrestling is in a boom we haven't seen probably ever. That there's 3 strong promotions like this, plus more with New Japan over here now. American fans, I feel like they know that more than ever thanks to AEW. And it's just, what a time. GCW, like, it's an international indie company. Like, come on. Like, it's amazing. It's what a time to be a wrestling fan.
And just like, it's crazy to think that prior to AEW coming around, you guys might know of one that I'm forgetting, but we weren't getting that special thing that pro wrestling fans of the 90s were used to, of the talent jumping ship.
Mhm.
The only time we got that was on a major level during pre-AEW, post-WCW was AJ Styles.
Yeah.
That's the only one I can think of as him showing up in WWE, and we were like, holy shit, this guy's in WWE. That's the beauty of it is now, and I know a lot of people want to trash on AEW or trash on WWE, but it's like we need both of these companies to be healthy so we can have those moments that are special.
Yeah, you don't have to be a fan of both, but having both helps you no matter which one you're a fan of.
100%.
WWE is not doing what they're doing now if AEW didn't rise from the dust and become
that Cody moment. That Cody moment wouldn't have been the Cody moment unless he had that time in AEW. It elevated him so much more.
And like surprises, people jumping ship. Like, it's still like we find out nowadays who's jumping even before they do with all the online shit and everything. That's why the Malachi one showing up on Dynamite when he did was amazing, because we didn't know. Like, that
no one saw that coming. Yeah,
that was the most fun one I think I've seen, because
Sting coming back was a
Yeah.
complete shocker too.
Yeah, but we kind of knew he was going to show up eventually. Like we knew he was a free agent from WWE, and it could happen.
There were murmurings, but you weren't ready for it on Winter is Coming when that happened. No,
Totally posted that little meme of Sting, like with the eyes
Yeah,
open. Like there are little like hints. The Malachi one, like we thought he still had 2 months left on his no compete clause. Like so that.
yeah.
I want more of that. I want them to keep it under the hood so that we're
Like Roderick Strong. Literally nobody had any
Right.
like that was still like, how did that happen? That's still kind of unclear.
I know.
like
I love that stuff.
I wish like the company should work together and just not ruin it for the. So when they get one, the other company doesn't want to ruin it for you. Let us be surprised.
Now, I think you're asking a bit much, Tom. Companies working together to keep their secrets. Come on.
Yeah.
Man, we can take a page. TNA, I will say, I mean, I know I put them over all the time, but that's a company that doesn't let anything out of the lid, man. Like the fact, like, you know, Scott D'Amore came out and said that the name change had been decided for over 12 months before they came out and announced it. And like that just speaks volumes to me about like the fact that everybody on that roster and in those locker rooms are on the same page about everything, that like it's nothing is leaking out.
When you don't have a mole in your locker room, that's a strong locker room.
Yeah.
100%. So any final thoughts on Nick before we move on to the next topic?
No.
Nope.
All right, we'll get on to our second topic of the evening. If Mercedes goes to AEW, who should be her first opponent? It's a great topic. And Ella, since this is yours, we will defer to you to go first.
Now, when I was thinking about this, I came up with two possibilities. You know, I think if Mercedes comes back, I think at least initially she's going to be a baby face. She's going to get that pop so that, you know, that limits the field to some heels. You know, you take out a champion like a Julia Hart, 'cause she's already has a championship. I think it could be one of two people. I don't think they're going to have her, you know, face the top talent right away. You know, normally for people coming in, they'll have people, you know, face some workers, I think. And I think Emi Sakura could be one because she has that tie to Japan. She, you know, is the owner of Choco Pro. Mercedes is kind of coming over from a run with New Japan and Stardom. You know, Emi still works in Japan. It could also be, you know, maybe it could be Hikaru Shida, even though she's a face. But I think a person like an Emi Sakura who has that tie to Japan, who fans know can deliver a great match and who's also a veteran, would be somebody that could be trusted to be able to make a Mercedes look even better than she already is. But it could also be somebody else who AEW has kind of leaned on and who had the most matches of any woman in 2023, that being Sky Blue. You know, she's kind of turning to this darker side. You know, she's by Julia's side. You know, maybe it could turn into a thing where Julia accompanies Sky and somebody accompanies Mercedes or makes the save. That could also be an angle. So I think Sky Blue or Emi Sakura, I think, would be viable first opponents for Mercedes if she were to go there.
I'm gonna go opposite. I think she should come in as a heel. Like they did the whole face thing with Soraya, and I just feel like they've never been able to fix it. Like she still just kind of seems lost. She is working great as a heel. She needs to come in as a heel, put her foot down, and take over the division. Let her beat Britt right away. Come on, give us something good. Make it juicy. Let's not play around. Let's make it meaningful from the start. Let's not build it up.
See, I'm kind of with you, Tom, but on a different angle. I do think AEW is prone to having their big guys come in, the big names come in and work with workers or up and comers to try and give them a shine in the beginning before so I do think that's typically what they do. I don't want them to do that with Mercedes. But I don't think she can come in as a heel. I just don't think she can. I think fans are going to be so excited to see her there. You're not going to get her booed. I think whenever she does come out, she comes out, she's getting the fanfare on her debut. Everyone's losing their mind. Dr. Britt Baker's music hits. She returns after a long wait, and she's the heel. Britt's been playing up the heel on social media for a while. I don't want to see Britt babyface going against a heel Mercedes. I want to see, and I think I love Britt, but Britt's in-ring would benefit from being in there with someone like Mercedes. I think we talk about the Sky Blues, we talk about Julia Hart's, the young guns who are coming up and finding their way and really shining lately. I think Sky Blue and Julia Hart have grown leaps and bounds in the last year. But there's something to be said about a seasoned pro like Mercedes. We talk about Saraya, but Saraya is compromised. Let's be honest. She can't go the way she used to be because of that injury. I think she's been very safe in the way she's picked her opponents and the way they've used her. They've really kind of toned her back a bit. But the people like Britt Baker, she would gain a lot from a long-term, at least a 2 to 3 month pay-per-view cycle build with someone like Mercedes. And if you I love the double returns, like to put a debut of Mercedes with a returning talent on your roster who's been gone a while, I think it would gain some heat. It would instantly put her in a main event worthy feud. I love Emi Sakura. I think she puts on banger matches. They would tear it up, and Sky Blue would gain a lot. But give me a big story right out of the gate. I don't want a slow burn with Mercedes. I want to get right into a major storyline and then kind of go to the Sky Blues of the world. But Brett, Mercedes right out of the gate, because then you have Tony Storm, possibly a returning Jamie Hayter, have that storyline going on, or whoever Timeless is tied up with. And then you have another marquee main event women's division feud that isn't circled around a title. That's one thing I want them to get away from, is that every story they focus on with the women has to be involved with the world title or the TBS title. I want some other feuds. I think they've done a good job lately of building storyline throughout the women's division, but this would be a way to give a story to that division without a title and make it feel big and important.
So my picks kind of got me landing somewhere between these two strategies. So my pick for her first opponent, I agree with Ella and Chad. I think she comes in as a babyface. Tommy, I think even if they present, I like the idea of her coming as a heel, but I think even if they present her as a heel, the crowd's just.
I prefer her as a heel.
They're gonna cheer her.
Yeah, they're gonna be so damn excited to see her. They're gonna cheer. There's just no way that she's no way she's gonna get booed coming in. I think, instead of having her necessarily first opponent be, somebody that's a little bit more of a worker, and, I hadn't considered Britt. I think just Britt's been off my radar for a little bit just because, we haven't seen her for so long. My pick was somebody kind of in the middle, somebody that's an established talent, but is new to this company, somebody that has a whole lot of respect. And I was thinking have her go up against Deonna Purrazzo first thing coming in. And
that's fresh.
First of all, it's a dream matchup for me between two incredible female wrestlers. And then also too, I mean, depending on the timing, a lot of this will come down to when Mercedes actually shows up.
Yeah.
Because, Deonna is, I like where we're going with Deonna versus Tony right now. It looks like we're going to, that's getting warmed up pretty quick. I don't expect Deonna Purrazzo to take this belt off Tony Storm. I think Tony's holding this for a long, long time, but I think that it brings some credit to have Mercedes come up and go up against a talent that might be new to this particular division, but somebody that's really, earned her chops in the eyes of the fans across multiple promotions. And then also I think it would elevate, obviously I think that Mercedes is coming in. I think it makes sense to have her go up against the most recent contender for the belt coming in. So if they time it to where this is after Revolution or at Revolution where she shows up, because I think that's probably where we're going to end up getting the Tony Storm Deonna Purrazzo match. I think that'd be a nice place for her to start. And I also think it'd do, even with Deonna taking the loss there, her holding her own with Mercedes Monet is gonna elevate her too in the eyes of the fans.
So Emmy, Deonna, and two Brits. Very interesting.
And a Sky Blue. And we got a Sky Blue.
Sky Blue's in there, yeah.
We're forgetting a very obvious one. Willow Nightingale is where she got hurt in the first place.
Yeah.
Right up on that as well with her coming in.
Little grudge match action.
The story is there, but as much as I love Willow and I'm a fan, she's tied up in this storyline with Stat. Like, I mean, I don't know. If they turn Willow heel, like I think they're going to do, I think they're going to put Stokely Hathaway with Willow. I think this whole Stokely Hathaway Statlander Willow situation, where Stokely wants Statlander, I think it's all a diversion. I think she's going to go with Willow, and Willow's going to turn heel. I don't know, man. It could be. My question though, because we're Ella's topic is kind of like a what if she goes to AEW. So I want to ask the question in the room, do you think she's going to AEW? I 100% think she's going to AEW.
I think she's showing up on Saturday in a Rumble.
Hey, there it is. Yeah, I'm gonna feel a lot more confident after Saturday. I think it could go either way, man. Mercedes is historically kind of an internet troll and likes to play with people and post things to confuse the fans. And so I think at this point, I think she's going to AEW. Well, and this is, I don't want to give away my answer necessarily for the final question, but I think there is somebody else who's returning to WWE that's going to make a big splash at the Women's Rumble, and I think Mercedes showing up would really steal that person's thunder.
But that is why you're referring to Trinity, I'm assuming. If
Yes.
Trinity returns to WWE, I think Mercedes is more likely to then also return to WWE. But
That's a
again,
good point.
that's contingent upon Trinity first returning.
True.
I think if Trinity shows up on Saturday, then I think Mercedes has a very high chance of showing up on the road to WrestleMania. If Trinity doesn't, then I might lean into more of maybe she's going to AEW. For me, it depends if Trinity shows up to WWE or not.
I hadn't even thought about it like that. That's a really good point.
But what makes me think that she's coming back is, number one, we're hearing the rumors that Trinity is coming back.
Yeah.
Number two, Bailey just resigned. We know Sasha at Mercedes wants to work with Bailey.
Mhm.
To me, all the
I think Mercedes is her own woman, though.
Yeah.
I think she wants to do her own thing. I don't think she's just going to follow her friends. I don't feel like she thinks, and who am I to know?
Mhm.
But just like projecting onto the situation, I think she didn't get her feel of being outside of the company in New Japan. Like she didn't get to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, I don't know, man. I think, and maybe I'm buying into the dirt sheet fodder a little too much, but I see people coming after Sean Ross Sapp because he said that Mercedes was coming to AEW. And I see people burying him for it, saying that she's coming to WWE. And Sean has a lot of confidence in his predictions that she's signing with AEW. And the level of confidence that he has when he's chatting down these trolls, I'm just like, he knows something. He's got to know something. So that's where I'm leading. And maybe he's got it wrong too. I mean, journalists in wrestling get it wrong. They get it right. It happens all the time, but I don't know. Just reading the tea leaves of social media and what people are saying, I just think, and I think Tony has some aces up his sleeve. The way he's been acting, I feel like he's got some aces up his sleeve.
I hope he does. I really do. Like, listen, to me, it's more fun when people jump ship. It's going to be fun to see what happens like over the next few months and who goes where. But I do think she's her own person. But if all of a sudden Trinity works it out with WWE, I think there's just more behind that. So we'll see what happens.
I think all I can say is that I'm imagining the pop of her showing up in AEW and the pop of her returning to WWE, whether it be at the Rumble or whether it be just on the road to WrestleMania. And man, I got to say that WWE pop sounds louder when I imagine it in my head by a long shot, just because no one would see it coming, or the majority of people would not see it coming at this point. Because like you said, Chad, all signs point to AEW at this point. But man,
and if you remember, Sean Ross Sapp and Meltzer, they were all pretty strong about Punk will not be at Survivor Series. So when they want to keep something under wraps, they can.
Yeah.
That's true. So, go ahead, Chad.
I don't know, man. I think 2024 one of the big critiques from the beginning of AEW, and especially in 2023, it was very loud. What are you doing with the women's division? You go out, you sign all the CM Punks, the Bryan Danielsons, the Adam Coles, you bring in Christian, you bring in Edge, you bring in all of these people. What are you doing with the women's division?
It's a good question.
I think he has been, if you follow weekly TV, they are featured more. There are more women's storylines from the top of the card to the bottom of the card. They have mid-card storylines going on. They even have a love triangle with Ruby Soho, Cool Hand Ange, and Harley Karen. I mean, they're doing everything from the top. They bring in Deonna Purrazzo. I feel like this is the year of the women's division. The rise of Sky Blue, the rise of Julia Hart. Julia Hart's over. Timeless Tony Storm's one of my favorite gimmicks in wrestling now. Tony Storm is all in on that gimmick. I feel like Tony is trying. Say what you want. The dude reads social media. He hears the critiques. And I think this is one of those years where he's like, I'm going to show you how much attention I pay to it. And I think he's going to throw the checkbook at Mercedes Monet, open it up, throw it up, say, hey, what is it going to take for you to be in this company? Not to mention, she did show up on All In. She was in the stands. They have been talking. There is that working relationship. I think he's going to follow through on it. I think he's going to follow through. I think Mercedes is AEW bound.
Any final thoughts on Mercedes and where she lands before we move on to the final topic of the evening?
Nope.
All right. Well, with that, we'll get to topic number 3 for the night. Who wins the men's and the women's Royal Rumble this Saturday?
I think Hogan is going to win the men.
So help me God. I will turn that off so fast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's no chance. I think it's going to be Punk. I think CM Punk wins the men's. And for the women's, I'm picking Bayley. I think Bayley, it's her turn to shine and get the spotlight.
So my original pick was Punk. Given the fact that Seth is hurt, and I know he says he's not dropping the belt, but it doesn't look like we're going to get Punk versus Seth at WrestleMania 40, which is what we thought we were going to get. I've changed my pick, and I'm picking Gunther for the men's Rumble.
Really, Gunther?
I am. So I think that it would be because he's in a good spot to where because right now it doesn't make sense to have anybody, cash in like it. I don't know. I think Gunther would be a good spot, man, because he's been alluding to having a shot at WrestleMania for a belt, and he's already been talking about he's not going to lose the Intercontinental belt. It has been, I mean, how cool would it be for him to have, like, even if he doesn't win, but for him to be able to come into WrestleMania and take a shot at a belt while also simultaneously holding the Intercontinental title. I just think it hasn't been done in any time that I can think of, and I don't know, man. I think he's gonna go the distance. I think that he's got a chip on his shoulder and something to prove, even though he's got nothing left to prove. I think I'm gonna go Gunther.
Who you got in the women's?
Women's. This is also I'm gonna pick a returning Trinity Fatu, which I hope that's what they call her. I don't think they're going to. I'm sure if she shows back up, they're gonna give her the Naomi moniker back. But I love the name. You might remember this, Chad, a long time ago. I pitched calling her Trinity Fatu and bringing her into the Bloodline story.
Yeah, I remember.
But as missed opportunities. But yeah, those are kind of wild card picks, man. But I'm sticking to them.
I'm going for the women's. I'm like Tom. I think Bayley's going to finally get it. I think I think with the Damage Control, I could see her having a babyface return and feuding with Damage Control. I think she deserves it. Becky's won one. Charlotte's won one. Rhea won last year. Bianca won one. I mean, throw Bayley a bone. This is kind of me like picking with my heart because Bayley's my favorite WWE women's wrestler. Like, I love Bayley. For the men's, The Rock. I
Wow.
think The Rock. I know he came out and he said, "I like the long game. I like to build something up." He was on, First Take on ESPN, and he said that. And I think that's all a swerve. I think that's an old classic swerve. Triple H posted a picture where he said, "We've had the biggest week of our life, and we're only halfway through the week." I think The Rock comes in late, probably from pick 26 to 30, somewhere in that range, and I think he wins. We get Roman Rock at this Mania. I wouldn't trust. I know everyone's saying they're going to replay the whole Rock Cena feud. I don't know if you can trust a year of build with The Rock at this point in his age. You don't want him to get hurt in the buildup to a year away Mania, over a year away Mania. I think they pull the trigger right now. I think there's a reason he's on TKO and all of that stuff. I think he's about to heat some shit up. I think it's The Rock. I think The Rock wins.
I mean, I think that'd be fun, but would be awesome if Rock comes out at number 27, he clears the ring, and then all of a sudden Stone Cold's music comes out and they go at it to battle in a Rumble just for a couple minutes. That would be fun.
Awesome. That'd be awesome.
I'd pop for that.
Who you got, Ella?
See, I'm not gonna shit on some of your theories, but just
shit on them.
I'm just convinced otherwise.
Okay.
With Damage Control, there's a big push going, and Bailey has made it clear she wants Damage Control to have all the gold. And I firmly believe that the Kabuki Warriors are going to win the tag team titles on Friday. However, there is somebody else in Damage Control who is very close to being cleared, apparently, who either might enter the Royal Rumble or screw Bailey in the Royal Rumble, being Dakota Kai. I think I'm just convinced that, I think the Kabuki Warriors are going to get their job done. Io's already champion, but they've been teasing, the tension between Dakota Kai has been kind of the spokesperson for Damage Control the last few months, and Bailey, I think the rest of the Damage Control is going to get the job done. But Bailey is not, and not necessarily by her own accord. I think either Dakota's going to eliminate her or the Kabuki War. I think they're going to turn on Bailey, and that's going to cost her the Women's Royal Rumble.
See, let me tell you why I think Bailey. I think she wins it. They come out on Raw, and Rhea Ripley's standing in the ring, and then she announces, and she looks at Io, and she goes, "But I want your title," setting up her and Io.
See... Initially I was torn between two people for the Women's Rumble, but with the news that just got reported a couple hours ago about Jade Cargill being in Tampa, I was between Becky and Jade for me. But Becky's been talking about she wants to be in Elimination Chamber. She has yet to be in one. I think Becky winning Chamber would be a perfect way to set her up. She's already won a Rumble. I think Jade is going to be the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. We're talking about what a way to debut her. She's expected to be in Tampa. She has. That would be. What a way.
You think she's ready?
Somebody. People who we thought aren't ready are pushed all the time. I don't think Braun Breaker was necessarily ready for his first reign in NXT Championship, but
winning the Rumble's a different animal.
I know. But I think, Jade winning would be huge. But also she would have to go after Rhea then, though, and then Becky winning Chamber. Now that I'm seeing some flaws in my theory, but I think Jade. I'm sticking with Jade because I think what a way to debut somebody in the Royal Rumble.
I'm here to back you up, Ella. I'm here to back you up because Chad, if she's not ready, when the hell is she gonna be ready?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced they don't put her on NXT and build her as an absolute monster down there. I don't know. I don't think they should. To me, she is a star that you put right on the main roster. I do not want the NXT treatment with her, but I fear for the reports coming out that she is not as far along as they wanted her to be. Those reports scare me that she could be NXT bound. I don't want her to be. I think for me, Jade was a bigger loss to AEW than Cody. I think Jade was their superstar. I think she has the look. She is the total package. I think she could be the biggest name in pro wrestling, not just women in pro wrestling. She could be as big as Roman Reigns just from an eye test alone.
I think, Jade and Bianca were talking about, that would be a WrestleMania match. And it is possible that we have the champions right now aren't necessarily the champions walking into WrestleMania. I think Rhea's definitely going to walk into WrestleMania. Io, maybe not so much. Maybe after my theory of Damage Control turning on Bayley costs Io the title to Bianca Belair. And then that sets up Jade and Bianca, So I'm still sticking with Jade. She's reported to be in Tampa. I'm sticking with that. For the men's, I think it should be Gunther and Brock at WrestleMania. I think Gunther's going to have a heck of a showing, and he could very well. Plans could change now that, because we don't know Seth's uncertainty. Heading into this, I was like 98% confident that CM Punk was going to win the Rumble and Cody was going to win Chamber. But, Seth's uncertainty, I think they could pivot if for some reason he isn't cleared to compete. I think they could do something with Punk and Drew at Mania. They've had since Punk returned, Drew has been very vocal about not liking Punk. They had that thing on that's kind of a fallback, I think, a decent fallback. But I'm still going to stick with CM Punk. Him coming back, one of those, it's going to be his big first televised match since coming back. I think much like a Jade, there's going to be that shock value in the winners this year.
Do you think? Here's my thing with CM Punk is the logical choice. I feel like everyone's picking CM Punk. It's the very predictable choice, and predictability isn't bad. You guys hear me say it on the flagship show all the time. Predictability in pro wrestling is sometimes a good thing. Like what you want to happen and expect to happen is what should happen. My only thing with Punk, it's like I have a couple things going through my head. One, Seth Rollins. If Seth Rollins cannot go, then what? Because now it would be one thing if Seth announced he will not be available and they made the Rumble for his title, I would 100% pick CM Punk. But if he's not available, then what? Who? Punk's not facing Roman at Mania. No. That doesn't fit into any of the in any of the plans. But also, maybe I'm taking Triple H the wrong way, but I just don't see a world where they bring this guy back and they gift him a Royal Rumble win in his first match back. This is a guy who I know let bygones be bygones. They buried the hatchet. This isn't Vince McMahon. This is Triple H. He's very level-headed compared to Vince. I get that. He doesn't hold grudges like Vince. I get that. But god damn, dude, this is the Rumble. You're going to give CM Punk, a guy who hasn't even proven outside of that house show at MSG that he is ready for the amount of spotlight.
He's wrestled twice technically, but
right.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's not even been there week to week. They're treating him more as like an
attraction.
Mm-hmm. So it's like,
but WrestleMania is the attraction, the show, the highlight.
So let me ask you guys this: do you think there is a world where Seth can't go? Seth's not going to compete at WrestleMania, but he's also saying he's not relinquishing the title. Do you think there's a world, because obviously we're the unless the Royal Rumble winner is The Rock, the Royal Rumble, gosh, easy for me to say, pal. The Royal Rumble winner is probably gonna call their shot for Seth's title. Do you think there's a world where that title isn't defended and at WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble winner gets their match later down the road?
I think Seth is pretty. They're pretty damn sure he's going to be all right for Mania. They would.
I think Seth will be at Mania.
Yeah, I think they would have the title off of him. They would have had to pivot now instead of waiting until last.
And if he's not available to go, then that whoever wins Rumble, they're getting their shot at Mania. I don't think they're going to push it. I just don't think you can set that precedent.
I think it would be then Punk versus Fatal 4-Way #1 contender. I think honestly, I think the logical fallback plan would be Punk faces whoever the winner is of like a Fatal 4-Way like #1 contender if Seth has to do it, and I think it should be Drew in that chance because those are still two big guys. Drew has his grievances. As a fallback plan, I don't know what Drew's direction is right now. Could be Jey Uso again. I don't know. But I think that for me, maybe just seems like the most logical fallback plan if Seth isn't able to compete at Mania.
Yeah.
I think not to shit on your pick, Colton, not to shit all over your pick, but I honestly think there's only 3 logical choices for the men's rumble. It's either Punk, Cody going back to back, or The Rock. Those are the only 3 that make sense to me. I don't think. I love Gunther. I have a picture of Gunther doing a chop on a dude, right, hanging on my wall. He's one of my favorites. I just don't. As much as he's a badass, as much as Drew is a badass, as much as Damian Priest, if he enters with the briefcase, like as much as all of these guys are great and awesome. This is the Rumble leading into WrestleMania 40. There are only 3 people that hold the weight to me to justify that win, and it's Rock, Punk, Cody. No one else can win.
No, you make a really good point, man. I mean, I think my pick for me changing my pick to Gunther was kind of booking in a world where I was like, well, what if Seth doesn't? So because the only reason that Gunther would make sense to me is if we have a WrestleMania where that belt does not get defended, and then Gunther already has another title to defend.
I'm with Ella though. I think what happens, Lesnar comes out in the Rumble and eliminates Gunther.
Yeah,
I think that's the match to make. That
let me pose a hypothetical to you. Assuming the undisputed WWE Universal Championship is not the main event, do we think that the losers in that match could potentially enter the Rumble and I don't know, and maybe go on? Could people from that match potentially win the men's Rumble?
Why not? I think so.
So you're saying people from the 4-Way?
Yeah, the losers from the 4-Way.
I think they should be able to enter. That'd be fun.
I mean,
we've seen it in the past. Yeah.
Brock did that shit.
Yeah. In recent memory.
Didn't he lose the title at Rumble and then win the?
Yes.
Never mind. Yeah, Brock did literally that.
Yes. And then Becky Lynch did the same thing after losing too.
Yeah.
Randy
could be a cool one.
Randy's a badass. I'm team Randy. I love Randy.
And we've also talked about how Randy, we think Randy's going to get another belt. He's going to get another title run, I think, before it's all said and done, man. All right. I'm changing. Can I change my pick?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm stuck between Cody going back to back and Randy.
You got to make a pick, Colton. Make one.
There's only one other person.
I think it's going to be Randy and Cody at Mania. And with the heel awesome. Randy, I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's too. That's almost too good of a storyline to pass up on, man.
Legacy. They've got so much history. Cody. I think people are maybe sleeping on that back-to-back thing a little bit too, because the only other person to ever do that was Stone Cold.
Yeah, I think
so. It's like,
I think I'm going Cody, man. I think I'm going Cody back to back.
Yeah, they've been pushing the Cody back-to-back thing a bunch too on TV. Yeah. Like nobody's done it since Stone Cold.
Stone Cold, yeah.
So I gotta ask before we get out of here with the round robin question at the end. I gotta ask. You guys haven't even mentioned my pick of The Rock. So are you shitting on my pick?
No, I addressed your pick.
What's the possibilities for you guys? What do you think The Rock shows up in any capacity on screen at the Rumble?
Yeah, I don't think he enters the Rumble, but I think it's very plausible for him to be there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would pop if The Rock came out in a Rumble. Like I would just fly off my couch and go nuts. I'm not expecting that. I would love it though. And I would love to see him win it. I would think that would make it even awesome if he came out.
Do you think he faces Reigns in the next year?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Before WrestleMania 41. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still so Chad. You're still thinking it's Rock Roman at WrestleMania 40, right?
Has to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
If Rock wins, it has to be Rock Roman.
Right.
there's a little bit of doubt. Like when Rock did say he liked the long game, if it doesn't happen at 40, like if he wants more time to tell it, because let's be honest, if you're building Rock Roman, a couple month build is a bit lame. Like
True.
I would prefer it to be Roman versus Rock at 41, just because we'll get a lot more TV, a lot more story. I'm all about the story, but there is that carny side of the business where I'm like, is The Rock playing us for a fool? Is he about to drop a bomb on us? Because here's the thing. No matter when that match happens, it's going to do gangbuster numbers. It's going to be one of the biggest moments. I think Cody deserves it more, but as far as like sheer the poster, Roman versus The Rock, it's a Mania thing, man. Like that's a Mania match to make. It makes sense from a WWE perspective. But my only thing, it's like, I think 40 has a little more pizzazz on it. 41, like 40 is a monumental.
Mhm.
It's a big one. 40, like 41. Yeah, it'll be huge.
Here's the
But
thing.
I don't know.
Rock didn't come out on January 1st of 2024 to set up a match for 2025.
That's why I think Rock and Roman is more like. That's why I think it's Randy and Cody. Like people are shitting on Twitter. I'm like, the story is there. If you're going for Rock and Roman, it has to be Randy and Cody then. However, I mean, I don't think you necessarily need the title for Rock and Roman. That's a hot take.
I know.
I think Randy. I mean, granted, people are like, that's an anticlimactic way to end Roman's reign, but it's also WWE, I think that would be the scenario for him to lose the title, but not get pinned. It still protects him.
Any other storyline, I would be all on board, but it's like almost 4-year reign. Like you gotta pay it off. I don't think Roman drops the title. I think there's a world where he has this belt at 41. I truly do.
I can't take another year. I cannot. The only reason they would do that is because they want him to beat Hogan's record.
That's what happened.
With 10% of the title defenses.
Legit.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about Hulk, but with 10% of the title defenses, he'll beat that record. Like,
his schedule's coming out that he's only going to be like a 2 pay-per-views in the next year. Roman Reigns, like, stop! Like, this isn't a way. This isn't. This record is a joke.
It's ridiculous.
He's not wrestling. He's not showing up.
I'm with you.
And do you guys remember everybody?
This is for him to lose.
Do you remember everybody pissing and moaning about how Brock wasn't around when he was the
I know.
championship?
I know.
Jesus Christ, man!
He makes Brock look like a workhorse. Holy
exactly.
I know.
We were complaining that Brock wasn't on Raw week to week. Brother was still showing, like he was still defending the title once a month. Like we were, the tides have changed, but no, I mean I'm not shitting on your pick at all, Chad. I mean I think The Rock winning, I think that's just as likely as any of the other picks that we've said.
I think it's the long shot. It's the long shot. I totally get it.
Happened.
Right, crazier things have happened, and also, I mean, I could still see we can book that match without him winning the Rumble. I don't know. There's so much.
40 feel like 40.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
I agree with Chad.
It would be pretty wild.
Before we get off this topic of the Rumble, any guesses of surprise returns in the Rumble this year? My wife's walking by. She just said AJ Lee.
It could be.
Yeah,
honestly, it's a legit possibility. I think Trinity is very likely.
Yeah.
Although it's not really a surprise, but technically is. I think Trinity is a very likely one. For the men's, I honestly like. Oh yeah, I want to see Wade Barrett in the men's Royal Rumble.
That'd be awesome.
Like we've seen Booker T enter. We've seen JB. Granted, they're wrestlers. We've also seen Michael Cole enter. Jerry Lawler. I want Wade Barrett in a ring one more time.
Bad news.
That's what I want.
Give me Nick Aldis too. Let him jump in there. That guy is.
Awesome.
I think it's a little too soon because he just took on the role.
Yeah.
Wade's been doing commentary for a while though, and we've seen commentators like as a surprise entrance in the Rumble. So I want Wade Barrett.
I'm going X-Pac.
That'd be cool.
I think X-Pac could be in there.
I think we get Pat McAfee in the Rumble.
That would be great.
That'd be cool. I love Pat.
Me too.
Yeah, I
So
think
we-
that's fun surprises this year. I think it's going to be a great Rumble. think
I
we
love
go-
it because it's unpredictable. They've
Yeah.
given us so many options of who could win each Rumble that it's going to be a fun Rumble.
And all the stories they've set up with Punk and Drew and then Punk and Cody this week. Like, it's like, there's so many. You just got to hope they're in there at that right time. It's going to be, to me, it feels like it's going to be a magical Rumble.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I hope it delivers. I think it will. I think
Yeah.
this is going to be special.
It's my favorite WWE show of the year. It's I'm really looking forward to it. I'm having a big Rumble party at my house, man. Lots of people, lots of snacks. Gonna be a good one. So, you said, Chad, you said we have a round robin. Is that correct?
Just a quick round robin, just to go around and take the temperature of the room. Where does Okada sign?
I'm saying WWE because I think they just want to go and steal him from AEW. I think that's all. I think they just want to offer him enough money to say, we got him.
I'm going to AEW.
I think AEW is the most logical place for him to be utilized.
It's in better.
I think he could still make a few TNA appearances before he officially signs anywhere.
Yeah, I think so too.
Honestly, I mean, he was just there for Snake Eyes, I think it was, right at the day after Hard to Kill. I think he'll do make some free agency appearances before he signs anywhere. I think maybe TNA, but I also agree with Chad. I think AEW, but I could also see Tom's point of WWE just out of spite, just snatching him up. But I also think that Okada would be aware of his circumstances, and I think he would think about it really, really, hard before signing anywhere. But I think AEW seems the most probable.
I think it's just like Ospreay fits in AEW better. I think he would fit better in AEW. Like, it's just an easier transition.
I don't trust WWE in the way they handle non-speaking foreign talent. I mean, I feel like Nakamura in New Japan felt like a way bigger deal than he ever has felt in WWE. Like,
that's as much as I love Nakamura, I feel like Nakamura is not getting mishandled in WWE. I think Nakamura is doing what he wants to do, which is 100%. Not wrestle a lot, surf his ass off, and just, get a really nice paycheck and a hell of a pop anytime he shows up. I think I'm gonna go AEW as well. I know that the dirt sheets have been saying it sounds like he's going to WWE and going to pop up in NXT. First of all, WWE signed this guy
in NXT. Talk about Jade in NXT. Okada in NXT is
big miss.
Just promotional malpractice. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well said, man. I think
mention Okada and AJ Styles in 2024.
That's true.
Man, that could be incredible. True. That could be pretty incredible. They better not send him down to NXT though, man.
I think
WWE
people are sleeping on the fact Tony's seeing Netflix deal, $5 billion. AEW's in a TV contract year with WBD. He's wanting to fire the big guns. He's wanting to unload the chamber. That's why I think Mercedes, Okada, I think he's going after, he said in his press conference at World's End, I am going to be very active in the free agent market, which he always has been. But I think, I think he's picking and choosing his spots now. He's not just signing any mid-card guy. I think he's going after the big dogs. Another person to keep an eye on who had just came out that he has not signed his deal and it ends right after WrestleMania is Drew McIntyre. Yeah. You've got All In happening at Labor Day weekend. That's a big name to put in the UK. So I just think Tony's going to be trying to do a lot of shit to get some good press, because WWE is absolutely crushing the game from a business standpoint. And I feel like Tony has this urge to keep up, which is great. I love WWE's success is going to elevate Tony to try and do as much as he can to keep up.
100%. I'm here for it. I love it.
Well, man, I think that's a good way to wrap it up, guys. Hey, shout out to J-Bone in the comments. He says, Ella, love your content. Always a great debate guest. Hit the nail on the head, J-Bone. Ella, we love having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Always a great time.
Thank you for having me too. Again, I'm so glad it worked out. Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter. I don't call it that other thing. At It's Ella J. If you go to the link in my bio, all my links to all my projects, writing, and podcasts are there. You can also follow me on Instagram. I don't use it as much, but it's at _ It's Ella J, like it says on the screen here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming. We'll have you back soon. Always a pleasure. And that's going to wrap us up tonight for another episode of the Turnbuckle Debate. Where's that music, Tom? Sorry. This is only my second time driving. I didn't.
Yeah, our main host is out for the week on
Sneed is out on a work training this weekend. We are doing our best. So, but like always, man, theturnbuckletavern.com. We launched the Patreon this year. If you're not on the Patreon, get on it. $2.99 a month.
Tons of free content.
Tons of content. Less than 12 quarters a month. A lot of bang for your buck there. Tom, this is your spot, buddy. Get your shit in.
The OG Fig Kid, Twitter and Instagram, and Fig Night every Tuesday is me and Mike Bellcast. We have a very special 40 years of Hulkamania episode coming out this Tuesday.
And with that, court is dismissed.
Reach for the sky, boy.